I'm going to teach you everything I know about creative fatigue, just taking one of our accounts that spent $2.2 million. Full disclosure, this is going to set some people off. Creative fatigue is a big deal, but I'm going to tell you times when it's not a big deal. How do I know that? I'm a partner at Right Hook Digital. We service e-commerce brands. We have a team of 90 people. I worked with hundreds of brands over the last 5 years. And on this channel, I reveal the secrets and the truth behind scaling brands the Right Hook way. All right, creative fatigue, what is it? Creative fatigue, in very simple terms, is when an ad that was once working dies and there's nothing you can do to revive it. Now, there are times that happens, but I'm gonna teach you those times of how you can avoid that. Creative fatigue, let's talk about it. I personally think creative fatigue is a pointless argument because of how the way we do things in my agency, it's not a big deal. When it is a big deal, it typically is because of how other people are structuring their ad account and how they're doing their targeting. So let's talk about it. If you've been following me for any amount of time, which you should, so make sure you subscribe and hit that bell, is creative fatigue is not a big deal if you do these three things. If you're targeting broad, if you have some amount of creative diversity, and if your performance checks out. As long as you're hitting the right cost per acquisition, whatever your targets are, don't even give a crap about frequency, typically what people look at for creative fatigue. When you do have creative fatigue is typically when you're targeting a very narrow audience. Like you have a few ads, you're targeting some interest that's like 30,000 people, 50,000 people, or even 1 million people. Those types of audiences will fatigue. That's why our strategy is we go broad for the majority of our use cases, because then the population size is so much bigger. You don't even have to worry about creative fatigue unless you spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars. However, while I don't necessarily believe in creative fatigue, because again, the way we do things, we don't have to care about that, I do believe in other types of fatigues, like mass desire fatigue, like angle fatigue. Again, typically for brands that have already spent a lot of money, that kind of fatigue is true. Let me show you what I mean. Creative fatigue becomes a big deal in these situations. So let me give you an example. So this is a brand that has spent over $2 million, even in the last couple quarters. These are their top performing ads. Those top 2 ads have an insane amount of frequency. I don't really care because $2 million has gone behind these 2 ads. That one ad by itself has spent 400 grand. So, but it keeps in line with the cost per acquisition that we care about. Again, because we're targeting broad and it doesn't matter to us. If we were targeting like a 1% lookalike that some other people teach you, it would have fatigued a long time ago. Why? Because people have seen that ad so much in a short period of time that yes, they would have been burnt out. But this is frequency over a long period of time. I do believe, however, in fatigue in these areas. Fatigue happens when you've completely capped out your awareness level. That's my opinion. For example, a most aware awareness level is for people who already know everything about your product, your offering. For those, that is a real possibility you will fatigue those people. So you have to refresh more often. But the further you go up the awareness levels, the less you have to worry about fatigue because the sizes get so much bigger. And that is why I believe in fatigue only in different awareness levels, which is why with our creative targeting, using creative as our targeting, why we're changing up the hooks, changing up the positionings to target specific awareness levels. What it does is it eliminates all but creative fatigue. Plus the fact that we're going broad eliminates it. Because if you remember in a previous video, I talked about that Facebook delivers your ads to the type of pocket of people who they think are going to convert. And that's why we use creative as targeting. Because let's take this ad. This is a supplement brand that does a dad bod stack. When they start serving that ad, they serve it to who are the people they think actually it resonates with, right? Single people, dads who like exercise, males, married women, right? Different potential people who may be interested. So what happens is once Facebook understands who are the people who engage with it, likely to convert, they'll keep hammering that audience. The benefit though, why you don't have to worry about creative fatigue is because the fact that we go broad and we use creative and good creative strategy to do our targeting for us. What that means is that people are always coming in and out of that audience. Some people, there's always new, fresh people getting married. There's always new, fresh people getting divorced and getting remarried. There's always new, fresh women who are getting married. So what that means is that because we go broad, we kind of give over that control to Meta, saying anyone who you think essentially would be interested in a dad bod stack, if we were advertising for this brand, deliver this ad to them. And because we go broad, we don't have to worry about creative fatigue. We have accounts spending millions upon millions, and creative fatigue is not even a big deal. The other reason creative fatigue isn't a big deal is because of diversity. I've talked about creative diversity a lot on this channel, and creative diversity happens when you have varying degrees of types of ads and very different looking types of ads. So this is a great example of creative diversity. And that's another reason why we don't have to care about creative diversity. We don't have to care about creative fatigue, is because we make ads that look drastically different so that even if a person in a short period of time saw a lot of different ads from our brand, they look so different that they're not going to consciously think, I've already seen this ad from this brand. So just a bit of a recap, creative fatigue is only a problem when you're targeting a narrow audience, when you're not hitting your certain cost per acquisition targets, and when you've had a really good ad that's performing well historically start to decline. Typically when that happens, that means you need to go more broad. Remember, up the awareness levels, go more broad for more scale. So go more broad. Number two, you need more creative diversity because Meta will serve ads it thinks people are going to engage with. So if you have very different types of ads, it all feeds into that person's buying journey. Meta will serve ads to people and different types of ads to people that they think they will engage with. So based off that example I shown of that hair care brand, because we have so many varying types of creative types, one person may see many different types of creative from that one brand, but then Meta will cycle in maybe the top seller or the number one ad that always converts. So creative fatigue, not a big deal for us because we go broad, we have creative diversity. And for the last reason is because we make ads specific for different awareness levels. So there's always people coming in and out of that market. So if you follow that advice, I can promise you, you'll no longer care about creative fatigue like we do.